Hello, welcome to another week of Founder Talk. We have 5 founders here today, and the topic is productivity tools.
Actually, I'm not sure. I don't use too many tools, although looking at the credit card statement doesn't appear that way. I mean,
Are you paying for Slack?
No, I don't pay for Slack.
What about other tools?
I'm not paying for any of my tools. So actually, I just realized another thing that I can add for a productivity tool, which is Zoom. Um, that I also don't pay for, but that means that I can only organize meetings with one other person if I'm going to go over that 40-minute time or whatever. So in terms of how much am I paying, I'm paying zero for all of these.
Okay, well, was there at any point that you were thinking, okay, maybe I want to pay for Zoom for just a month? Or was there any time that you actually paid for it and canceled?
Not in terms of productivity tools.
I'm realizing from this conversation that I'm paying way too much for stuff. I've tried a bunch of tools like the ones mentioned, Trello, Asana, Airtable, etc. Haven't ended up converting to any of them. I guess they just didn't impress me much. The things I do pay for, Zoom, I do pay for, and I actually didn't necessarily want to. It's just a lot of our potential customers were on Zoom, and then so I started using it. And actually, there is a noticeable video quality improvement compared to Hangouts. And so now I gladly pay for it because it does actually help have more quality conversations remotely, which is
Does
super
the video
important.
better when you pay for it?
It is the same when you pay for it, but it's impossible to not pay for it if you have an hour-long meeting. So other than that, we use DocuSign for all our documents.
I almost forgot that I should cancel it after this meeting.
Yeah, DocuSign is great. We sign everything through there, and I find the interface super simple and easy to use. Definitely preferred to mailing something or faxing or whatever. That sounds crazy to me. I haven't really tried other e-signing tools like Adobe Sign or something, but DocuSign to me is so good enough that I probably wouldn't even consider switching. And then third, what would I pick for my third? I think I would probably pick. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't use too many tools, although looking at the credit card statement doesn't appear that way. I mean, there's certainly stuff that we pay for outside of those categories, whether it's specific engineering stuff. But yeah, I would say in a generic sense, not much we're paying for there. There's other tools we use for sales and engineering, but those are probably the top 2 tools that I would vouch for and say, yes, we gladly pay for it.
So building off of what Zerzar said about getting recommendations, so definitely like friends and other founders, I think, for productivity tools for a startup. And then, reviews, like being able to test it is key. So having that premium version first is definitely something that draws me in, because I'm like, okay, like I don't really need to fully commit at this moment. But when it's the type of tool where it's like, okay, based on usage, we'll ramp you up. Like that was making me think about MailChimp and how like that one is based on, how many emails you get or whatever, how many people subscribe. So yeah, like I feel like the same thing can happen there once you hit the capacity and you're already committed to that system. It's hard to get out. There's a plugin for a coming soon page called Seed Prod, so I paid for that. I don't necessarily love it. So literally it took like a few seconds to build the coming soon page, and I've done it before, I think, even without it. That's why I was kind of like, I don't know, but in that moment I was like, I want to get this done quickly, and that helped me do it myself fast.
Do you evaluate something extensively, then decide, let's say, okay, let's buy this because I need it?
It depends how big the purchase is. If it's below $100, I'm comfortable moving quickly. If it's gonna be more than $100, so if it's like an annual plan and you have to commit now, then definitely I'll consider like whether this is worth, digging deeper. But it's not like I see something and I buy it. Like I also look for what's industry standard, right? Like if this company is saying like, hey, we're the number one plugin for this specific problem, here's everybody saying that this is great, and it's not like we're just claiming to be number one. Then to me, that's like, okay, I have a problem. They're offering the solution. Do I do this and save time? Yeah, let's go. So it's pretty simple at that point. But if it is a bigger purchase, then I will like think I'll dig deeper into what other options there are.
Any instances that you really regret about spending some money on some tools?
So I wouldn't say it's a regret, but then it's like just wasted cash. So like sometimes I'll get excited about an idea and I'm like, oh, let me just like reserve the website name.
Okay, yeah, I do that a lot.
$10, so it's like whatever, but then that'll like add up. I think ultimately it's not the money, but then it's like the time, excitement, and then disappointment of not pursuing it. So it's kind of like the energy cost of like, oh yeah, like this is awesome, and then oh wait, I didn't do anything with it.
Is there some tool that you wish that already exists but it doesn't?
Pattern drafting tool.
You can't name your own tool.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a tool that I would kind of dream about when I was lawyering. So I don't know if you guys are familiar, but when you are a corporate lawyer and you're working on deals, there's this thing called a document checklist. It lists there's a lot of documents that go into one deal, and it's the junior's responsibility to keep track of the status of all the documents. And this means progress, what stage is the document in, and who's taking care of it. And almost every hour, a senior will be calling you and asking you, what's the status, give me an update on the stock checklist, while you're doing so many other, what feels like more important stuff. But it's such a time sucker because we would do all of this manually through Word. And then the way that it also works is you still want a record of all the different drafts. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with FileSite, but basically you keep creating new versions of this doc. So you're doing all this like manual stuff, creating new versions on the doc. You're also coordinating the status of documents that are being handled by other people, which is what makes this even more painful, because then you have to start emailing and calling all the various people working on the various docs and getting the status. Very time consuming and tedious task. And so I always thought about, is there a way to make this easier? Is there a way where you can have multiple people coming into the document at the same time, kind of like Google Docs? Because that's the other thing, like only one person could be on the doc at one time, which is why you need that one quarterback calling everyone to get the status on everything. So is there a way we could, number one, make it so that multiple people can access the doc at the same time and update it so that it's not one person's responsibility? And can we still do it in a way where we are preserving the past data so that we have a record of what was going on in the past? Yeah, so I think it was like those two things that would have made this a lot easier for juniors.
Yeah, it's like GitHub for lawyers, basically.
So
Okay, that's our episode for this week. Thanks for watching. If you like our videos, please click the red button below to subscribe. If you want us to interview any founder or want to hear more about a particular topic from this channel, please just let us know in the comments below. And thanks. I'll see you next week.